Tonight, thought crimes in the UK. We hear from Julian Assange and Tommy Robinson. We're going to go through some headlines, and we're going to come back and look at some Q posts while highlighting some commenters. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. First of all, I want to thank everyone who has subscribed. You guys are really what make this channel work. Without you, it would be nothing, and I am so thankful for your support and getting involved in this. Go ahead, if you haven't yet, come here to the landing page, and you want to make sure you click the red subscribe button. It's right here. Go ahead and make sure you click the bell for notifications, and that way you can stay informed, and you can become a part of the Just Informed Talk channel. And like I say, at the bottom of each one of these videos is a QAnon research board, and tonight we're going to have a very special episode where we highlight some of the commenters who have been contributing and have helped make a huge impact. Not just them, but many others. But these are just a few I pulled that have pointed us in a new direction on the Q board that we will get into regarding Angela Hitler and others. First, we're going to cover Julian Assange. This is one of his latest tweets here. And what he says is very important, and it all ties back to Tommy Robinson, Martin Sellner, and Brittany Pettibone. And what they're doing right now in the UK is literally the definition of Orwellian to me. They are literally throwing people out of the country for what they perceive as thought crime, wrong think, whatever you want to call it. It is the ideal Orwellian outcome, if you ask me, and that's why this deserves very much a lot of coverage. Very much needs to be highlighted. Ultimately, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get into what he's talking about here. Now, what happened was Martin Sellner and Brittany Pettibone tried to come into the country. Martin Sellner was going to give a speech at one of the free speech corners in downtown London. And also you have Brittany Pettibone, who was coming in to interview Tommy Robinson, who, for those of you who don't know, he's a very well-known, basically just civil conservative in Britain, who has been pointing out the terrible atrocities that have been happening since the open borders policy has been implemented. Now, going into who Brittany Pettibone is, she's basically... she has her website here. She gives a little bio. She was a sci-fi writer who became politically active around 2016. I think that she's married to this Martin Sellner, and he's an Austrian activist. He is the leader of the New Right. It's an identitarian movement of Austria. A lot of people have categorized them as hate speech mongers and right-wingers and just these awful things. But sometimes if you just really sit down and listen to what somebody has to say, maybe you can find similarities and then have something to discuss. But I think ultimately this is really the attack on free speech. Now, here's a picture of a letter that is really, I'm going to blow this up for you guys a little bit, but it is Brittany coming into the country, and they said that she had done this. Let's listen. It says, "You have asked for leave to enter the United Kingdom as a visitor for 5 days, but, as you stated in your interview, I have reasons to believe that you are seeking admission to the United Kingdom to interview Tommy Robinson, a far-right leader whose materials and speeches incite racial hatred. You stated at the interview that you will be filming your boyfriend Martin Sellner speech at Speaker's Corner in London Hyde Park. Your boyfriend admitted at the interview to being a co-founder of the Austrian branch of Generation Identity, which is viewed in the UK as a right-wing organization. Furthermore, your boyfriend have in his possession the leaflets with scenarios regarding possible violence at his speech. I believe that your planned activities whilst in the United Kingdom bear a serious threat to the fundamental interest of society and are likely to incite tensions between local communities in the United Kingdom. You have not sought entry under any other provisions under the immigration rules. I therefore refuse to you leave. I refuse, therefore, excuse me, tongue-tied. I therefore refuse you leave to enter the United Kingdom, removal directions, and they've given the direction to remove them. So what does this all tie into? And it's first of all, Martin Sellner had arrived in the country to give a speech there in um, the public square at Speaker's Corner in London's Hyde Park. And it's basically, as they'll highlight in what I'm going to show you, we're going to go through the interview between Tommy Robinson and Martin Sellner and Brittany Pettibone. But he was coming to one of the pinnacle places for free speech. It's basically like a soapbox area where you can just stand up on a chair and start talking. And it's where some of the most controversial political figures have come to speak for a very long time, kind of traditional in the country. And now what happened was these two activists, authors, whatever, they actually were detained in the British detention area at the airport in London upon their arrival for 3 days. And this is them talking to Tommy Robinson in Austria afterwards. I think they flew back to Austria, and that's where they conducted this video. So you obviously have them sitting in Austria doing this interview with Tommy Robinson. I'm going to annotate it for you, kind of give you the big parts. Let's take it the first part where they talk about the criminal treatment they received upon entry.
So just explain to me what exactly happened from the minute you landed.
Yeah, we landed, and at passport control I was halted. The guy asked me if I've ever was halted before, and he said it's just a matter of a few minutes. But this was the beginning of a 3 days detention, actually. They found Brittany, we were separated, we were not allowed to look on our phones, not allowed to talk, and then they put us on hold there. They searched our bags, and we spent the whole day there, and then in the night they brought us into a detention center where we had to stay till Sunday, separated, unable to communicate it, and actually treated like criminals.
So there you have the first part, is where they explain what happened when they arrived. Now here's where they cover what crime they actually committed.
And what was your intention for coming to the UK?
Yeah,
Originally?
my crime.
What is the crime?
Britney's crime was that she wanted to talk with you, and my crime is that I wanted to speak at Speaker's Corner, and even there's a backstory to it, because I was invited the second time by Young Independents, the youth movement of UKIP, to give a speech about freedom of speech at one of their events. And both times they lost the venue because of pressure of Antifa and
Threats against the venue.
Threats against them, threats of violence.
So there you go. I mean, now we're going to get into how they explain that was their basic explanation for why they were kicking him out of the country, is literally because they thought that his speech would incite violence, therefore he was a threat. Now let's get into what what thought crime he was going to commit.
So I have the official statement here. I'll just read the sentence, which it involves you.
Yep.
So they say, you have asked for leave to enter the United Kingdom as a visitor for 5 days, but as you stated in your interview, I have reasons to believe that you are seeking admission to the United Kingdom to interview Tommy Robinson, a far-right leader whose materials and speeches incite racial hatred. So that said, I just want to add really quick, Martin said, okay, you can detain me, I won't give my speech, the event won't happen, so let Brittany go through and she can go and conduct her interviews because she has other work there, she was just going to film my speech. They said, no, actually your case is worse because you want to interview Tommy Robinson. So they were completely just up in arms about you.
So they even told her directly that the more prevalent assault on their safety would be her just having a chance to sit down and cordially interview another human being. Now, since when has, just the ability to have a conversation been a danger to anyone? As far as I'm concerned, words don't kill people. And until people start realizing that, we're going to still see problems. Now, this is going to be great where Sellner kind of gets into, and Tommy Robinson gets into how Antifa work their way into all this. You guys go ahead and take a look at it for yourself.
I think it's a little bit of both, because the thing is, we've never incited any kind of violence, ever. We simply want to go places and speak. We're not like chasing after, crazy things happening. We just wanted to go and speak peacefully. And we stated that in a video before we went to the UK. What troubles me is the fact that they don't ever pursue Antifa, who set up a counter protest on Facebook. Then many of them were tweeting for over the course of several days about how they're going to shut this down by any means necessary. And the fact that the UK patrols online hate speech so often, and yet they don't go after Antifa, who are threatening all this kinds of violence, and they persecute people who just want to go speak freely and peacefully, it's mind-boggling. And it should be very eye-opening. I don't understand why people in the UK will stand for it.
So they said to you as one of the reasons was that they believe that your presence here could inflame tensions.
Exactly. So the Antifa got exactly what they wanted. The state just acted as a puppet for Antifa, bending to their will. I mean, with such a government, who needs Antifa? Because Antifa wanted to shut my protest down, wanted me to prevent me from going to Speaker's Corner, and the state exactly acted like this. And I think it's losing its mask more and more and showing its totalitarian face. And you see how multiculturalism is connected to totalitarianism. Because if you want to proceed a policy that is disliked by the silent majority, you need to come up with more and more measures to shut them down, to shut free speech down. So I think it's linked to each other, and you see at the UK how Western democracies are turning more and more totalitarian as they're becoming Islamicized and turning more multicultural.
Yeah, so I mean, he kind of lays it out there, which I think is a great little breakdown, just talking about how, who needs Antifa if the government's going to do it like that? And there's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of things being covered up, I believe, over there on the other side of the pond. I want to give a special recognition to all the people who write to me from Great Britain and say they're over there in the UK. And it's really great to hear you guys are watching. I hope that this video is helpful. And I hope it draws a light. Share it with your friends. Get this information out there. Tommy Robinson, he's had a sordid past, but he's definitely not afraid, and he's not afraid to speak his mind, and we can commend somebody for that, especially when they use fact and logic and they don't just blurt out an emotional feeling and say that this is why I feel this way. More overly, they actually use facts to back up what they believe, which I think is very, very important. Now, here's an interesting clip that I heard where there's actually secret patriots inside the UK, probably a lot of people who would be watching a channel like this, who actually were giving them words of encouragement behind the scenes. So I'm going to let you guys check that out.
Can go back. I spoke to several of the Border Patrol people and who were secretly right-wing, but obviously they were very kind to us, but they're like, we can't do anything. We don't want to lose our jobs. But one of them said to me, the British people, we just suffer in silence. It's just how we are. And I said to him that, okay, if you have cancer, you don't suffer in silence because it's only going to get worse. You have to act in some way, or you're going to incrementally lose your freedoms. One day it's going to affect you, whether or not it is right now, one day it will. So you might as well stand up now because you're only losing every day. You're not gaining anything. Suffering in silence, it's not the option.
So, I mean, she kind of lays it out perfectly that there were people there giving them words of encouragement, people there who are, secret, quote unquote, patriots to the country, who actually are working for the best, the betterment. And but they need to stand up. And I think that's kind of a call to action to everybody out there, not just those in Britain, but those in Australia, those in the United States, those in Canada. A lot of the people that watch this show and even comment, and I get a lot of great comments from these people, they're all patriots in their own right, and they want the best for not only us, but they want the best for their own country. And ultimately, America can serve as a model, but we can't enact it for you. With Trump and what we're doing here, we're trying. We're starting the initiative. We're succeeding day by day by day, chipping away at the globalists. I know a lot of people get frustrated at the speed at which we actually make progress, but understand that we're working inside the parameters of our democracy and basically our republic. So it's certainly important to understand that. And now here's another quick clip from this video that kind of goes to the patriots in silence. But the way that they silence the people there, Um, it's just really fascinating. Let's watch this clip really quick.
It's what they want is silence. They want to silence everybody. And you know, Britain and me were sitting in those cells, but every British citizen is also sitting in a cell of fear and silence, suffering and silence.
They're afraid.
And we need to get them to come out of these cells. And all the people who went to Speaker's Corner, all the people who showed their faces, they show that freedom of speech is still alive in the UK.
So that's promising that people showed up and represented Sellner, even though he couldn't be there and his speech was being silenced. But just as we in America have to stand up for our rights, you in Britain, all you guys in Australia, all you guys in New Zealand and Canada, you guys need to stand up and affirm your right to free speech, even if they try to restrict it and take it away from you. That is certainly a privilege that we all share as human beings, and it can't be controlled by anyone. And the more that we realize that, the better off I think we'll be. Now, here's a very interesting part where they talk about how there was a possibility of danger to their lives because they were locked up in these detention cells with a bunch of migrants and other Africans, Africans and Middle Easterners who would not think kindly or not take kindly to what their political viewpoints are. And these were like hardened criminals, as opposed to these authors, activists, and journalists here who are basically being persecuted for their ideas, being put into jail with these criminals, and they're going to go over that right now.
Which is a risk.
Yeah.
Because once people know that you speak about Islam, for example, in a detention centre, what nationality were the people you had it up with and celled up with?
Most people were black of Arab nationality. Many of them also Muslims. So I think if the word spread, if I would have stayed there a few more days, there would actually really be a real danger.
A risk.
Absolutely.
So your lives have been put in danger by the British state.
In a way it was. So, but I also have to say that the border forces, the normal policemen, they were very friendly. A lot of them were sympathizing with us. It was also a very British thing, like even when they put on your handcuffs and search your body, it was very polite. I think it's only British people can do it like that. What you're really complaining and what we are upset about is the decision of the government. But I think it will backfire because they wanted to keep it silent, they want to keep it under the blanket, and they want no tensions to rise, and now they have it back because a lot of people are upset now, and they want to know what I was prevented to talk about.
Well, I've seen this for years, and what the British government have attempted to do is obviously silence you. And what I believe the reason for that is because they are worried about the reaction. They're always, so basically they'll take away your rights, like they take away my rights, because of a violent opposition. Now,
so there you go. I mean, it's Tommy Robinson getting into more detail about what they're doing, but you saw it right there where he kind of lays it out pretty clearly and succinctly. And what we're going to get into here is something I want to be totally supportive of, is that Tommy Robinson is going to be taking. So anybody I know I have listeners in the UK. If you guys are hearing this broadcast, Tommy Robinson is going to be giving a speech at the Speaker's Corner, and he's going to announce it here real quick. But we're going to go ahead and check out that clip where he explains that right here. You guys just pay attention. He's going to give you the time and everything. So why don't you guys take a look at that?
if you had a speech prepared, did you have a speech? Have you got a speech prepared?
I had a speech prepared for the venue, and then I prepared another one for Speaker's Corner, and actually I rewrote it in my prison cell. And the thing is, I even have.
Have you got that speech?
Yeah. And the thing is,
if I take this speech, this is the backfiring from the government and the police and what they're attempting to do. Speaker's Corner has a 300-year history from some of the most controversial figures, from Karl Marx to George Orwell.
Vladimir Lenin.
But yeah, everyone is allowed to speak there. It's part of our country's history. And the fact that they're trying to stop it, and the fact that we see Islamic preachers coming in, every week, then I'll deliver this speech on your behalf. I'll read this speech out. So the government haven't won, because I can't sit there and think, that you're letting them win. If they stop you giving the speech, then they win. So at 3 o'clock on Sunday, I'll ask anyone who values freedom of speech, whether it be in Britain or in Europe, come along and support free speech. In Sunday, Speaker's Corner, 3 p.m. That's what I want to do.
So there you go, 3 p.m. Speaker's Corner in London this Sunday. That will be, let's see, that'll be Sunday the 18th. You guys should go check that out for yourself. It's going to be a fascinating time. Make videos, post comments, let me know what you think. But now we're going to go into some headlines here, into what's been going on lately around the world. Since it's a little slow on the cue board, we're going to just kind of cover some stuff here. And look forward at the end of this video, though. We're going to actually take some of the commenters who have left comments. We're going to highlight them and highlight their inputs as to what certain things mean on the boards that I may have missed. So stay tuned for that. Now, here you have 3 package bombs went off in 2 weeks, and they're likely connected, and this is in Austin, Texas. You have this terrible tragedy where people are being given packages. I just want to give a caution to everyone in that area. If you are, just be careful. Always check everything, make sure it looks legit. And that's certainly something to be investigated further. There's not many details in that yet, though. Here's an article out of Wired where it's talking about how Facebook is going to increase its censorship. Great. I can't wait to get more censored on my Facebook feed. That's just why I don't use it that much. I know I got a lot of people from the channel coming over and giving me love on my Facebook page, but ultimately Facebook's a tough one. I need to get more active over there and start posting the videos, try to counter this. So you guys can help me, keep pushing me on that. I love seeing the support. You guys can go like my page. It's Just More Talk on it at Facebook. You guys can find it through a quick search. Now, the next story we got, this is about the Qataris here, and for some reason it's taken a second to load, and here it is. And apparently, according to this NBC report, and a lot of people give me flack and say, why do you cover NBC? Why do you cover CNN or CBS? They're all fake news. I'm like, well, yeah, that's why we have to cover them, because they're putting out fake news, and we have to counter the narrative. Okay, so Qataris are opted not to give info on Kushner. So what they did is apparently they hinted that they had secret information on Kushner making favorable deals toward certain allies in the Middle East that could be very compromising to him. I think if you look at like Steve Pachenik, who's come on InfoWars and given some great insights, you look at a few others. Qatar is not really our best ally. I think they're aligned with a whole other sect of Islam. They're in the Iran kind of cabal, and we need to be very weary about what they do and what they say. Interestingly enough, though, they are so afraid of the harm to the relationship between Trump administration and them that they have actually opted out of giving the information to Robert Mueller. So, I mean, that's certainly something to be examined and something to be kept in mind. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this story that went on. It's been going on for a while. There's this guy who was, he was an epidemiologist at the agency of the Center for Disease Control, and he mysteriously disappeared on February 12th, so about a month ago. It's really interesting because he was working in, I think, infectious diseases, and he just disappeared with nothing, no clues, no hints, no leads, and there's this report that came out that says that they deny that he was passed over for a promotion, as to maybe painting the case that he's disgruntled. Now, moving forward, here we have this plane crash in New York, which was really crazy. We saw 5 people killed. I'll give you those 5 people. It's been made public. You can see this helicopter. It kind of flipped over there. Picture keeps jumping. But what is this related to? You know, you have all these. Everything is up for fair game here with the cue boards. But this is really interesting. We have and sad. We pray for the families of these individuals who lost their lives, obviously, because that certainly is no joke, and it's not funny at all. but it is a tragedy, and it did happen. You have Trevor Cardigan, and he was a video journalist from Dallas, Texas, and he was visiting his friend here, Brian McDaniel, who was a fire officer from Dallas, Texas. Or no, I'm sorry. He worked for the Business Insider in New York City, so he was living in New York City. These were friends from Dallas, and he was a fire rescue officer. Then you had Tristan Hill. He was just engaged to be married. He worked for the Knicks developmental team, the Westchester Knicks. And you had Carla Veleos Blanco, Daniel Thompson. She was from Argentina. And Daniel Thompson, who was a law enforcement officer who worked for the company that operated the aircraft. And then apparently the only person who survived was the pilot. He made it out fine. He was able to unbuckle his seatbelt and get out of the craft, which was tipped over in the river. He was rescued by a barge that was passing through. His name is Richard Vance. He's 33 years old. He was the sole survivor of that plane crash. Now, that's pretty much it for that. And obviously we have the Austin blast again. So that's pretty much it for the news headlines. You guys do with that as you will. Now we're going to get into some of my favorite things, the commenters. So here you go. So the first comment I'm going to read is by Th0ught Cr1me, and it says, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, but you are just driving me knucking futs with your butchering of German. Look at the family tree. It's all there right in front of you. I will lay it out for you. Angela Hitler," I'm sorry, a lot of people have told me Angela Hitler, "was Adolf's older half-sister. They were very close. It is alleged Adolf had an affair with Angela's daughter, his half-niece, also named Angela Maria, nicknamed Jelly, who later committed suicide using Hitler's handgun. It is also alleged that Hitler later declared that Gelly, aka Angela Maria, his half-niece, was the only woman he ever loved. It was common in Germany to name your children after a close relative, either a parent, uncle, aunt, sister, or brother, hence Angela Merkel." So there you go. You saw how I responded here, saying, "Wow, apologies for butchering German words, but insightful thoughts make sense to me. Thanks for the comment. Stay tuned. May feature this in next episode. God bless." Well, there you are. I have featured it, and I want to say thank you to the commenter for putting it up there. Let's move on to the next one. Or actually, first let's go back and we'll look at the Q post that is related to this, and it is this one here. So what we're talking about is the family tree, and he pointed out basically that there was that what Q's pointing to here in this post is that there is definitely a correlation between the family of Angela Merkel and Adolf Hitler. So take that with a grain of salt as you will. Now, next commenter, great job. This is Live Free or Die. Good job pointing this stuff out. Says, "At Just Informed Talk, quote unquote globalist is just one of the words that the media takes and twists around. Cohn resigned and Blankfein stepped down at Goldman. Both globalists, ergo globalist is anti-Semitic. So who influences the media? Does Rothschild own at least part in the Associated Press and have a lot of influence at Reuters? Do the clowns still give talking points at 4 a.m.? Then he gives all these interesting articles to look at. And yes, that is all probably true. And we'll get into what he says here, though, which is really interesting. He says, "You had a hunch the news system was rigged, and you couldn't put your finger on it. This might solve the puzzle." It says, "ABC News executive producer Ian Cameron is married to Susan Rice, National Security Advisor. Isn't Rice one of those who might be up on the treason charges? Yeah. CBS President David Rhodes is the brother of Ben Rhodes, Obama's Deputy National Security Advisor for Strategic Communications. ABC's news correspondent Claire Shipman is married to former White House Press Secretary Jay Carney. ABC News and Univision reporter Matthew Jaffe is married to Katie Hogan, Obama's Deputy Press Secretary. ABC President Ben Sherwood is the brother of Obama's Special Advisor Elizabeth Sherwood. Now, here's a great one. CNN President Virginia Mosley is married to former Hillary Clinton Deputy Secretary Tom Nides. I mean, you couldn't write this stuff any better. It points out what it is, but I'll keep reading. Point is, it's so hopelessly biased. There is no hope of ever getting real news from them without a huge overhaul, and getting a particular biased point of view propagandized is easy. Then it says, repeal the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012. It legalized domestic propaganda, e.g. fake news. Best. Well, thank you to Live Free or Die. That was a great comment, and I'm glad to be able to feature it here. That is what they want. That is what it is. They want to destroy our freedom, and that's going to be pretty much it for tonight's episode. But thank you to all the commenters. Thank you to everybody who's put out put up the big effort there. That's really appreciated. And again, thank you to everybody who has subscribed. You guys really, the top of the crop there. You guys are the best. I just really appreciate you guys supporting this channel. If you haven't yet, come here to the landing page. Make sure you hit the red subscribe button. That's definitely the least you could do. It's free. It's like giving me $1. I really appreciate it. You can hit that. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you get notified as soon as these videos become available. Because as information becomes available to me, I make it available to you. But let me know what you thought of tonight's episode. I really appreciate it. If you don't know, every video basically has its own QAnon research board at the bottom. So you guys go down and write your comments and let me know what you think. And you might just get featured in an episode if you give great information and it checks out and it's something I hadn't thought of. I will definitely feature it, and I want to thank everybody who did feature or did support and share. You guys are really what make this channel work. Without you, it would be nothing. Another way you guys can support us is by heading over here to patreon.com. You can come to patreon.com/justinformedtalk. I'll leave a link in the description. You can come here to patreon.com too and just type Just Informed Talk into the search browser here, and it will pull you up to this page. You click the red button to become a patron. Come here and check out my goal and my rewards. We're almost there to my goal of reaching 100 patrons, which is awesome. And you can earn a chance to have a direct email correspondence with me, Craig. And you can also become a featured Patreon patron of an episode. Those are all cool things. And it really supports a good cause. I appreciate all the help. I need all the help I can get. Thank you in advance for coming and checking it out. And thank you again to all the people who have contributed so far to this channel. You guys really are what make it work. Now, in closing, I want to take 1 second here and talk about the most important thing that we could all focus on in these times, and that's God and how important His love is. His love is there for you. He loves you no matter what. These are beautiful realizations that you can make as soon as you take a second and open your heart up to the Lord. He will be there for you. He will support you, and He will guide you. If you're having a tough time, if you're suffering from anxiety, depression, uncertainty, stress at work, stress at home, or just general anxiety and fear, remember, the only cure for those things is God and His love and His grace. The moment you turn your back on that, you just won't have a good time of it. And you'll never be able to see the full potential that you have inside of you. And God is the best tool to unleash that potential, because He'll amplify you to a level that you'll never believe was possible were it not for His grace and His glory. So just take that with you if you don't take anything else away from this episode, that God loves you. All you have to do is say a prayer and open your heart up and let Him in, and you will see the blessings. I'm preaching this from personal experience. When you do open your heart to the Lord, He does bless you, and it is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it will keep you fulfilled from here to the eternal life that you will spend with God eventually one day when you're very, very old. So take that if you don't take anything else away from this episode. But I'm going to leave it there. I want to say thank you for watching. Make sure you come here. Hit the red subscribe button if you haven't. It's definitely helping out the channel. It's like giving me $1. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you get the videos when they become available. I'm Craig. This is Just Informed Talk. God bless and Godspeed, Patriots.